And last question. Did you ever see one of these?
No, my
Anything like it? Let
visual
me
line
unwrap it.
is
Anything like that on the
uh,
scene?
there was a conscious effort for my peripheral vision to stay above the neckline.
So I don't know if you guys have been following any of the videos that have been coming out regarding Sean Diddy, Puffy Combs. This popped up in my recommended videos and I decided to watch it. And it was interesting because I haven't really been keeping up with the trial, but it was interesting to hear this guy's take on just some of the stuff that Puffy was doing. I just found this video interesting and I thought I would share it with you guys if you haven't seen it.
Investigators that
I find that
basically they
very
said I
hard to
was
believe. The feds had a light-hearted conversation. What do you mean by that?
well, I was told that I was one of hundreds of people that were being interviewed. They were just doing their due diligence, and it was a brief. They just wanted a brief summary of what my interactions was. Me personally, I never thought my involvement was significant, so I kind of just said, "Hey guys, I don't really have much for you." I was in state. I understood trafficking had to be an out of state scenario, and I also told them that I didn't see any aggression, any physical abuse, anything to that degree. So I was kind of unaware of my involvement. So the conversation was brief, about 20 minutes at my apartment, and I never even thought I would hear from anybody again.
Well, I've got a question. If everything was normal and your job with Sean Combs, your sex job with him was just like every other job, then why did you lose your and couldn't perform?
Well, like every other job is out of context. I was a male stripper, so sex work wasn't something that I did for a living. So it was completely out of my zone to be in a scenario with a woman who, at the time, I thought it was her husband, being in a room, being a part of a sexual activity, especially in the scenario that I described. He had on a burqa, a veil over his face. He's
Okay, I want to
completely
see his
nude.
face, please. Whoa, 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 whoa. Do you prefer to be called Sheree, Mr. Hayes, or the Punisher?
Believe it or not, I'm called all three on a daily basis. So I'm fine with any either one.
I'm
It
going to
doesn't
go with
matter.
Mr. Hayes. Mr.
That
Hayes,
works.
could you repeat what you just said about the burqa? And I'm going to get
Yeah.
back to your lack of in a moment. I'm not letting that go. I got to nail
Okay.
that down because you say, oh, it was just business as usual. But I bet you don't lose your every time you perform, right? Is that like
Yeah.
a hazard of the job? But first, back to the burqa.
Yeah. So it's obviously seeing an adult male in a burqa is not something that is normal. It was surprising when he first came out, and remember, I have no idea who they are at this point. And when it's framed to me, Miss Ventura told me we're going to set this scene, we're going to do oil, and my husband's eventually going to walk out. And so when he comes out
What
with
do
a
you mean by
burqa
that? We're going
nude,
to do oil.
yeah, if I'm not sure if you're remember my testimony, but the
No,
way
I've
the
never been to a
room
freak
was,
off.
no, not the freak off, my testimony, and my testimony, I
Okay, what does it mean to
described
do
that
oil?
it's like a mutual massage. The freak off started off the same way, where we did a mutual individual massage. We put oil on ourselves and then oil on each other, which led to sexual activity.
Okay, so you did oil. Can we get back to the burqa? Because a traditional burqa involves a conservative Muslim female being covered in a dark material from head to wrist to toe. But isn't it true Mr. Combs only wore a burqa from the neck up, from the neck down? He was buck naked.
That is correct. That is correct.
Now, can y'all picture this? Sean Diddy Combs wearing a burqa, looking like one of these Iranian women, and he's got the thing on up here, but from the neck down, he's totally naked, and according to her, masturbating with some Astroglide. What? This. What is wrong with this world?
Moniker.
Correct. That is the situation I found myself in. It was very odd. It made it difficult to concentrate and to focus. So I'm sure you can see how that leads to
I
an
guess so.
malfunction. Definitely a
Malfunction. Okay, I'm totally stealing
Yes.
that. You had malfunction. Okay.
A
So
malfunction, yeah.
back to the burqa. So at that time, you had no idea it was Combs sitting over there with a burqa from here up, right?
No idea. I thought it was just this beautiful woman's husband, that they were into some sort of fetish, and I was not expecting them to walk out in that attire. Not at all.
What was Burqa Man doing during that session?
Well, he was set up in a table across the room, where he would pace back and forth to kind of get I guess, an angle of however he wanted to view. He would give subtle
Okay, repeat,
directions in terms
repeat,
of
repeat,
lighting.
repeat. What? I'm making a note here. What did you just say about an angle?
He was positioned across the room, and he would kind of pace back and forth to look at us on the couches from different angles. And based on those angles, he would
You know
give
why that's important,
instructions.
Mr. Hayes? That's important because that echoes. I've been very lighthearted up until this point, but I'm a crime victim. And many of the crime victims in this case have stated that they would be drugged in their drinks or some other way, and they would wake up the next morning and their would be hurting, right? And then they would be shown a video of the freak off and threatened that if they ever went public about it, that video would be released. Now, we've also heard reports that Combs would go to different angles to get the best angle, positioning the woman's limbs to get the best angle for the now what you're for the now what you're saying echoes that, and I bet you had no idea that other women have said that, and now you, Mr. Hayes, aka the Punisher, you are corroborating what these other witnesses and or victims are saying. That's very critical in my mind, because you may know this. A lot of times, defense attorneys like Greg Morse, they make a very, very good living out of discrediting sex attack victims. But a way to bolster a sex attack victim's testimony is through testimony like what you just said. Because see, when we take a home video, my husband, David, he doesn't go from angle to angle trying to get the best angle. I mean, I'm like, if you'll turn the phone on correctly. So that's very interesting that mirrors behavior other victims have said. Now, let me get back to, the burqa. So you're in there, and during that session, let me put it euphemistically, Sean Combs is going from angle to angle trying to get the best angle. What else, if anything, did he do?
He's also playing himself. He's holding a bottle of Astroglide. And he's giving, again, subtle instructions to Miss Ventura in terms
Like
of
what?
moving candles, like mostly based on the lighting, the candles in the room, and the position of her body and mine in conjunction to our touching each other and the oil play.
Mr. Hayes, thank you for being with us. You know what? If you could you be specific? You stated that Sean Combs directed Cassie Ventura to move her body. Those were your words. What exactly did he ask her to do?
In this occasion, it was nothing overtly sexual. It was all based on angles to see, lighting, and just a massage. Like, my testimony is about the first interaction. There was no actual sex in terms of oral or penetrative. It was just kind of like a mutual massage, and it wrapped up at that.
Okay, so you got paid a lot of money to give somebody a massage. Did you ever actually have sex, or as you said, penetration of Cassie Ventura?
Yes, in a later
Did
circumstance.
Sean Combs direct her regarding any movement of her limbs, as you first said?
No, there was no direction in regards to sex itself.
Just moving candles to get a better angle? Is that what you said?
Yeah, candles for lighting on our bodies, and then sometimes the positioning of her in conjunction to me. He never said a word to me. Everything was directed at Miss Ventura, based on, like I said, these subtle cues or directions.
Were you dressed up in any particular outfit?
I was not. I was instructed to just come out in a towel, nude with just a towel. I would always begin in a towel.
Later, you stated that it became difficult for you to maintain focus under Combs's stare. Is that true?
Yes. Like I stated earlier, it was always a discomfort having a woman's partner in the room. Once I did realize who they were.
Wait, please, are you
it
telling
became
me you've never done a threesome before? Not according to
not
your
with
resume,
another
man.
guy. Not with two guys. Two guys.
So you got sick of Combs directing you and staring at you. And last question, did you ever see one of these?
No,
Anything like it? Let
visual
me
line
unwrap it.
is-
Anything like that on the scene?
There was a conscious effort for my peripheral vision to stay above the neckline, so I have no Halloween.
So you
candy
know I'm
reference.
talking about Combs's.
I don't know what you guys just think, but that was crazy. Like I said, for me, I've kind of been out of the loop. I haven't been following any other Diddy stuff at all. And when I saw this video pop up, I decided to watch it, and I was blown away by some of the stuff that was going on. I mean, here's my thinking. Did this guy, the Punisher, did he not know that he was at Sean Diddy's house? I mean, it'd be kind of hard to believe he didn't know that he was at his house, so that's why he was there. He's saying he thought it was some lady and her husband, but I mean, if you look at the eyes, even with those burqas, their eyes are visible. Puffy's got pretty pronounced features. You would think you would be able to identify that, coupled with the fact that you would think you would know where you're at. To me, the whole thing just seems kind of strange. Again, there's going to be more of this crap to come out. We live in a crazy world, don't we? Anyway, make sure you guys like this video, hit the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And as always, I love you guys. Now we'll check in on the next one. Later.